Hello, everybody. Just a quick note, we are planning to start in 10 minutes. If you are in line for the cafe, unfortunately, we have to cut off the cafe beverages. So if you're in line for the cafe, that is for book sales only at this point. So thanks for understanding, so we can start in a somewhat timely fashion. Because this is a sold-out event tonight, I just have one favor to ask of you. If there are empty seats in your row, please put them in the same spot. So if that involves you moving in or you moving out so that all of the empty seats in your row are together, that would be very helpful so we can get as many people seated as possible. If you do have an empty seat near you, feel free to raise your hand, because I know we have some people by the door looking for seats. So there's some seats over here if anyone's looking. Some seats upstairs if anyone's looking. And then you are welcome to sit on the steps as well, as long as we have room for egress. That's a fancy term for if there's a fire, we need to leave. All right, thank you guys so much. We're going to get started very shortly. so much for your patience. If anyone wants a seat, I have a seat here. I have a seat here. I believe I have some upstairs. Or you can sit on these stairs back here and you'll have like a side view. But if you don't want to stand by the door for an hour, you have options. And there's one over here. So nobody's moving. So I guess you guys just love standing, freaks. Oh, they want to be that's aired out. I take it back. You're not freaks. You're really smart because the book signing line is going to be long. What? Vamp. Kind of looks like 2 seats over here, actually. I'm going to be honest. No one wants to. Where you at, though? It's just him. Okay. Ooh. Wow. I didn't know they could do that. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Midtown Scholar Bookstore. My name is Amanda. I'm the events manager here at the Scholar. We are delighted to see you this evening, and we hope you enjoy our program with Mai Corland, Abigail Owen, and Hannah Nicole Maehrer. What timing was that? Before we get started, I do have a few housekeeping notes.
Hi, guys.
Really quick, the Scholar has recently announced the return of the 13th annual Harrisburg Book Festival. So mark your calendars for October 15th through the 19th, when we will be hosting Nick Offerman, Marie Lou, Carissa Broadbent, and Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, among many other authors. Tickets are now available for those events, with many more exciting festival announcements yet to come. We are also hosting our famous annual tent sale, with more than 30,000 books priced at just $1, $2, or $3. Stay tuned to our social media and our newsletter so you never miss an upcoming author event or appearance. Now, tonight we are delighted to be hosting not 1, not 2, but 3 very social media savvy New York Times bestselling
So polite,
authors.
like quiet. That was so polite. I'm sorry.
It's your event. It's your event. We are here to celebrate Hannah Nicole Maehren's 3rd book in her villain series, Accomplice to the Villain, which you should all have in your hands this evening. Okay. You should have also received a $5 voucher that may be redeemed tonight only for any of the books by the authors we have on stage. You can find those books up at the cafe counter. Again, that is a coupon for tonight only, so make sure you redeem that before you leave. We will be holding a book signing with all 3 authors immediately after the event tonight. That will be next door, out the doors to the left in our Rare Books building. And now I have the honor of introducing our speakers this evening. I love fiction events because your bios are so creative. Infinitely more interesting than the politics events, I have to say.
I don't want to hear I'll hear you.
Okay, Hannah's first.
Oh, no.
Hannah Nicole Maehrer, or as TikTok knows her, at Hannah Nicole May, is a #1 New York Times best-selling fantasy romance author and a book talker with a propensity for villains. When she's not creating bookish comedy skits about villains and assistants, she's writing to Taylor Swift songs. Her biggest passions in life include romance, magic, laughter, and finding ways to include them all in everything she creates. Most days you can find her with her head in the clouds and a pen in her hand.
It's like when someone sings happy birthday. You're like, you're like
Mai Corland is a Korean-American author born in Seoul and adopted in New York. Her debut adult romantasy novel, Five Broken Blades, the first of a trilogy from Red Tower Books, was a bestseller in USA Today, Indie Booksellers List, and the Sunday Times, as well as becoming an instant New York Times bestseller. Her follow-up, Four Ruined Realms, hit shelves in January 2025, with the series finale, Three Shattered Souls, available now as well. May also writes award-winning children's and young adult books under the name Meredith Ireland. She resides in New York with her children, partner, and a county fair goldfish who will probably outlive them all. I need that story.
His name is Bob.
Of course it is. And Abigail Owen is the #1 New York Times and #1 USA Today best-selling author of 30-plus books ranging from upper YA, epic romantasy, to new adult modern mythics, to super spicy adult paranormal romance. She loves magical worlds with plots that move hot and fast, feisty heroines with sass, heroes with heart, a dash of snark, and oodles of HEAs. That's happily ever after, unless I'm very behind the times. Okay, cool. Abigail's other titles include wife, mother, Star Wars geek, ex-competitive skydiver, AuDHD, spreadsheet lover.
This has never come up.
Actually?
yeah.
What?
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm almost done. Jeopardy fanatic, organizational guru, true classic movie buff, linguaphile, wishful world traveler, and chocoholic. Abigail currently resides in Austin, Texas, with her own swoon-worthy hero. They're mostly angelic teenagers and an adorable fur baby. It's an honor to welcome May, Abigail, and Hannah to the Midtown Scholar Bookstore. So without any further ado, please join me in giving them a very warm Harrisburg welcome.
When did you skydive?
I feel like she had like a whole alternate life.
What?
Do you want that story first?
Yeah.
So I started skydiving in college. It was because I met a guy who was a skydiver, and that's all they did every weekend, he and his friends. And I was terrified of heights. And yeah, and so I was like, no thanks. But that's all they ever talked about, and that's all they ever did. And so for my 21st birthday, I gifted myself one jump because I was like, at least I'll experience it once, and then I'll know what they're talking about. And then I loved it. So then I started competing. Oh, I got my license first, and then I started competing.
You're so cool.
I did it for years.
Sorry. Okay, we can start.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm going to moderate. My name is Kai. First, I would love if all three of you could introduce yourselves and talk about your most recent or soonest coming project. We can start on that end with Abby. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Abigail Owen. The intro pretty much covered everything. That is a laundry list of things. I've got to cull that down because it just keeps going.
Never do that.
So my most recent book is The Games Gods Play, which, if you haven't read it, is basically Greek gods meets Dangerous Trials, with Hades as the hero, but not Persephone as the heroine, because I felt like doing something different. And the second book, The Things Gods Break, is coming out in October and continues the saga.
Hey everybody, I'm Mai Corland. I'm the author of the Broken Blades series, which, if you guys haven't heard about it, it's 5 of the most dangerous liars in the kingdom that come together to try to kill the God King. Three Shattered Souls just came out 3 weeks ago. But what's up next for me is a book called Verity Guild. It is a romantasy murder mystery. I love that that's the reaction. Like, I love it. Like, I didn't even get to, like, the ancient Roman Republic vibes.
Who again? Who again? Oh, me. Hi. I'm just here to entertain. My name is Hannah Nicole Maehrer. I'm the author of the Assistant and the Villain series, most recently to come out, Accomplice to the Villain. And right now I am, do I just say what it's about? Exactly what it sounds like. There's an assistant and a villain. And progressively with each book, the assistant gets better and better at evil doing. So she keeps getting promoted. It's a job with advancement, which we love. And currently I'm working on book 4 in the series. And it's called A Title.
I was like, wait, what?
I'll tell you later.
Great. So we're gonna. Is this on?
You're killing it.
Okay, so we're gonna do kind of an interesting format here. I've got the classic questions. They've got the fun version questions in cups. So I'm going to ask them a question that all 3 authors will answer, and then I'm going to name one of them to pick a fun question out of the fun cup and answer it for you, and they have to answer it whatever it is. They don't know what's in there. First, I would like to ask all 3 of you to answer this question. How did you become an author? And we can start on this end this time and move down.
Hey. I've been writing since I was really, really young, and I've been storytelling since I could talk. My mom said I started talking and I never stopped. I'm actually just beating a bout of laryngitis, and the doctor was like, stop talking, and I went, oh, that's cute. I'm not gonna. So I've always loved telling stories since I was really, really little. Writing is something that's always been like a huge passion of mine. And then as I got older, went to school, I continued pursuing it on the side of whatever I was doing, whether it be nannying or when I was majoring in psychology at Penn State. I was always writing. And then I discovered Book Talk during the pandemic, and I love making skits. I love comedy, so I channeled all of my creative energy into making a skit series called the Personal Assistant to the Morally Gray Fantasy Villain, and I fell like so in love with the story I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was writing something completely different that wasn't nearly as fun, and I had a lovely group of people following along with the journey as I wrote the book, and it happened to find its home with an agent and then with a publisher at Red Tower, and now we are all here together.
Oh my gosh, how did I become an author? Mental trauma, and rather than go to therapy, here I am. So I'd always written angsty teenage journals mostly. Writing was the way I coped with the world and things that happened, and so like very, very thinly veiled like novella when I was 13. And then, so I always wrote, but it was always in a drawer, right? It was always for me, and I didn't really think to do anything with it. And then 2015, about 10 years ago, my stepfather got very sick, and it was one of those moments where you're like, you don't have all the time in the world. And so like, why not, instead of having regrets, like why not pursue it? And so I started querying. I had a fantastic Hunger Games knockoff that was Under the Sea. Really? It was so bad, Abby.
I need to read this.
It was so bad. No, you're not ever going to read this. No, I like that you respect me. No. But then you get better and you keep writing, and then I published YA and then middle grade, and then came to Red Tower.
I love that every author has a completely different story from the others. Like each one is so personal, and there's so many different avenues to being an author. So, like both of you, I started out writing from a young age. Story was fascinating to me even before I knew how to write and read. I wrote stories for years and years, and in high school stopped because Mean Girls convinced me that I was weird for doing it. My dedication in book 2 is to the Mean Girls. I say welcome to Tartarus. And then picked it back up, and I started and never finished probably 30 contemporary romances. And that was through my 20s and 30s. 20s, not 30s. Just through my 20s. And I had always read romance and sci-fi fantasy as separate genres. It wasn't until Twilight came out Then I went, oh, you can combine those? What is this magic? I don't know how I was missing an entire genre out there in the world, and I was. And so I wrote my first book in like 6 weeks. It was not a good book. But then self-publishing was a very brand new thing at the time. And I decided to go the self-publishing route, mostly because the traditional publishing route is very, so you query agents and editors over and over and over, and mostly what you get back is no. But the no that you get back is incredibly generic. It's just a no for the most part. So you don't know if it's because of your writing. You don't know if it's because that story sucked. You don't know if it's because they already have something like that, if that's just not selling in the market right now. You have no idea what to fix or what to work on, if anything. And so I thought, you can spin your wheels for years doing that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to self-publish it. And if total strangers on the internet who aren't my mother tell me that it's a good book, I'll keep going. And so they told me it was good, and I kept going.
Okay. Now I'm going to have Hannah choose a fun slip from the fun cup, and you're going to answer it for us.
Okay.
You should be.
Never have I ever typed responses to bad reviews, creeped other authors' rankings on Amazon. Do I answer that? I have never done that because I value my mental health.
Lies.
No, if I see, and I truly mean this, I think that when I first got published, I'm such a people pleaser. I was very proactive about not looking at things that I knew, like, this is a reader space. I do like totally believe in reader spaces, reviewer spaces, and then I have my little corner where I can play on the internet, and I'm very comfortable there, and I'm very comfortable with everybody kind of feeling however they want about what I put into the world, because that's kind of part of being an author, is you have to be okay with, this is not just yours now, it's for everyone and anyone to interpret however they want. And that's actually a very cool thing, because it means that there's people that are going to love whatever you make, and there's people that are going to hate it. And that's just because everybody thinks and feels and like looks at things differently, and that's a good thing, I think. And when it comes to Amazon, I feel like I never read Amazon reviews, also because a lot of the time it's like, if the book comes like damaged, they're like, it came damaged, and I'm like, well, I can't fix that in the next review.
0 stars.
Yeah, I'm like 0 star. I'm like, fine, fair enough. If the corner was bent, I understand. Yeah, I feel like at a certain point, for me, and everybody's different. I know every author's different. Every now and again, someone will tag you in a bad review, and you'll see it. I've learned to make them funny. I have a great friend group that our catharsis is to screenshot them and send them in the friend group, and then we type up funny responses to them, because they usually are funny. I had somebody literally just comment once, ew, and I thought it was hilarious. I was like, wow, you said so much without saying anything at all. And I was like, I appreciate the creativity, honestly. So yeah, I think I'm a big believer in laughing at things that can make you cry. And yeah, I think that laughter's the best medicine. So if you see something that could make you feel like some type of way, laugh it off. It's funny. And ew is hilarious. Do I put it back in the cup?
No, because I don't want you to pick it again.
Oh, here it goes.
Yeah, just next to you. Okay, this next question, I'm going to read, and then I'm going to have Abigail start and also explain it for people who might not understand. Are you a plotter, a pantser, or a mix?
Okay, so if you don't know what that means, in writer language, a plotter is somebody who plots out every single little detail before they write one word of the actual book. And a pantser is somebody who writes by the seat of their pants. They're a discovery author, basically. And then I call the one that's a mix a plantser, which is exactly what I am. So I started out as a pantser. The very first book I wrote the scenes that I could see in my head, and I figured out a plot later. I don't recommend this method at all. It makes the editing just painful. Now, most of my author friends would tell you that I'm very heavily a plotter because I am also an organizer, and so I have a spreadsheet that has every plotting method I've ever come across in my entire life, all organized into one giant, beautiful matrix of gorgeousness. I don't fill the whole thing out. I know what my I call them kind of tent poles or beats. I know what my major beats are going to be, the major turning points in the book. I let the pantser come out in between those. So I know where I'm writing, my goal for to get to here, not here to the very end. And I let the pantser figure it out in between.
I saw the sheet today. It was really scary.
It's not scary, it's beautiful.
My reaction was, okay, May?
Oh, we're gonna, okay. So I would love to be a plotter. It sounds so good. Like, it sounds like so organized, and yeah, it doesn't sound like a possum trying to get out of a trash can, which is my general philosophy on how to write a book. I'm specific. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Of course.
like
I'm a possum. Actually, I was thinking more of a raccoon.
a raccoon stuck in a
We
trash
could be
can.
raccoon and a possum.
There we go.
Okay.
So you have to be a little bit more plotty, though, because they will ask you, what is the trilogy about? And you kind of are like, I'm going to pinky swear that it's going to be really good. And sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes Macmillan's like, okay, that's cute, but like, what's the third book about? And you're like, oh, shit. And then you're like, okay, hold on a second, give me like 5 minutes. But yeah, so like Verity Guild is a good example of this. They're like, what's it about? I'm like, it's going to be really good. I'm like, it's Heartless Hunter meets And Then There Were None, like with ancient Roman vibes. But then the process, though, is more organized than that, which is not a high bar. It's 2,000 words a day, every day that I'm going to be home. So.
Yeah, I feel like we're like went from like organized to like, and now we're here. Because I haven't used Excel. No, I did use Excel because they made me. Well, they didn't make me. That sounds bad. No, they did like
Just
the
for you and
character
me.
things where you have to put in like their eye color and stuff. And I was, no, they did. And I was like, no, that is helpful. But that was the last time I used Excel. And that will be the last time I ever use Excel. I'm not
gonna make you
organized at
love it.
all. And I think that I sought that when I first became like an author, like professionally. I was like, okay, I am going to be organized. But this has been a pattern throughout my entire life where like I used to want to be like mysterious, and that was not a goal I ever amounted to, because after 5 seconds of talking to someone, I'm telling them about something that happened to me when I was 6, and it just goes downhill from there. And the same thing with writing. I have beats that I know I want to hit within a story, but I literally send the synopsis over to my editor, and I'm like, just so you know, it's probably not going to happen like this. This is just to make you feel better so that you think you know where it's going. But I rarely know where it's going, and I prefer it that way. I think that when I'm writing a first draft, I'm telling myself the story for the first time, and it's just as fun for me. Like, I genuinely have like the most fun writing my characters, because it feels like I don't actually know what you're going to say or what you're going to do, and they shock me constantly. And I know that sounds insane because I'm writing them, but they truly feel like they're autonomous people in my head. I have no agency. At first, when I was writing, I was like, I am the god of this world. And I'm like, no, I'm an underling. And like, they don't even care what I have to say. I was a nanny since I was 15, and I was like, I'm still a nanny. It's just for fake people now. And they're all adults, which is worse. I'm a pantser for sure. I don't think I'll ever change. I think anytime I try to do anything else, I stifle myself. So I think that for anyone, creatively speaking, everyone's going to be different. Like, obviously, we have 3 very different people up here that do very different things, and a combination of the 3. You should always do what feels best for you creatively, because you're never going to match up completely to someone else. You can have goals you aspire to. I do them every day, but I rarely meet them. My goal usually is just open the laptop and write one word. And I do it. There's a whole book right there.
Okay, Abby, I'm going to have you pull a fun slip from the fun cup.
Sorry. What is the strangest thing you've done to avoid writer's block? That's a good question. I haven't done really strange things, though. My writer's block technique is called deadlines. They really help a lot.
Yeah, they do help a lot.
Yeah, because you're just kind of like, oh, I have to do this. But in general, so what I have found is that I've kind of Pavlovian response to myself into this method. my first draft, I write and dictate at the same time. So I walk around my neighborhood, I dictate, I get home, and then I'll like clean it up because it's always hilariously poorly dictated. And also includes things like as I'm walking by the people walking their dog, I'm like, hi, what a cute dog, like in the dictation. Or when my phone like drops the cell phone service, me going, yeah, that's all in there. But because I've done this for so many years as my way of writing, now my brain, when I take a walk at all, goes into creative mode and starts writing. Even if it's not a walk to write, like if I'm just like walking, I don't know, wherever, my brain goes into creative mode. So I Pavlovianed myself into getting around writer's block.
Okay, next question. What do you think is most important in fantasy world building? And Hannah, we'll start with you this time.
Oh, no. I was like, she's not going to say my name. God, I feel like I have I always think there's someone that knows better than me in any situation. And I do believe this, that if you are in a room where you think you know the most, you are in the wrong room. You should be in a room with people that know far more than you so you can learn. So that's why I'm here. But when it comes to fantasy world building, I think that just knowing like the core rules of your world are really, really important, and they don't have to be very complicated. I think that that's where people get tripped up. That's where I used to get tripped up, because I love plot and I love characters and I just love magic in general within stories. And I think sometimes when we go to approach writing fantasy, you think it has to be like this crazy, like outlandish thing, but it can be like one core thing that, and all these things branch off from it. Like if you think of the Lord of the Rings, the primary plot of Lord of the Rings is what? They're trying to put a ring back into a mountain. That's a very simple plot, no? But like it's a very intricately woven series, fantasy-wise. So it's one of those things where I think that if you just need one core simplistic fact, like this is the high concept that I'm going for, and then everything else can branch off from there. Writing things down helps you keep things consistent. I recommend it. I don't do it, but I think you should. Yeah.
So for fantasy worlds in particular, they have to be grounded in reality. So you really do need to know like how fast and how far a horse can go. If there's horses in your world, because you need that bit of reality to ground whatever magic you're going to do, and then your magic has to. I think it should have a cost. Different people vary. I think when magic doesn't have an impact or doesn't have a cost for use, you're more in the realm of demigods, but it can be done. So long as it's consistent and then the rules apply consistently, I think you have a very strong fantasy world.
I love both of those answers. I think they're very good answers and very true.
She's about to blow us out of the water. No, seriously.
No, I was preening from the praise. I was like,
I totally agree with both of those. So for me, it's more about having fun with the world. World building is maybe my favorite thing to do out of everything I do, and it didn't start out that way. I liked doing the fantasy part of it, but one of my very early reviews on my second or third book was she'll be a great writer when she figures out world building. Which I didn't take that as a negative. I took that as a challenge accepted. Like, let me figure out what I'm missing here. Because I was like, does it matter what color the couch is in the room? Like, how much world do you need? And then I learned how to play with it to the point of I especially do it when I'm doing my edits. I'll look for anything that's normal and be like, can I make this something different? Can I take this and make it something different? And so that's fun for me, just playing with it. So I would say that's one big thing. And then the other thing is don't make your fantastical elements so powerful that they're impossible to defeat, because you're going to write yourself into a corner.
Okay, great. Now I'm going to have May pick a fun slip from the fun cup.
Sounds so ominous.
The fun cup. Wait, isn't that from Legally Blonde too?
Oh, no, that's the snap cup.
The snap cup. Sorry.
We can snap for you after.
The worst part is I put this in the cup. I know I did, but I was hoping somebody else would.
So really get it. Was it the one you really wanted?
No, it wasn't. What word can you not spell correctly the first time? apparently Tucson. So I was at the Tucson Festival of Books, and I know this because somebody was like, hey, can you write Tucson Festival of Books in my book? And I'm like, of course I can. No, I cannot. I wrote the Tession or whatever that was.
Quick, spell it, go.
It was not good.
Spell it now. I can't, if it helps.
Is it? No,
I won't know if you're wrong.
Yes, or is it SC?
It's T-U-C, Tucson. T-U-C-S-O-N.
Yeah.
I'd actually love to hear all of your answers to this one.
Am I wrong? I'm probably wrong. My answer is rhythm. I cannot spell rhythm. It just does not want to come out in the order of R, Y, H, and T. I don't know.
You messed it up.
Mine's definitely for some reason I've never, people are like, oh, you write, and I'm like, I have spell check. I never write without spell check. That is so funny that you said Tucson, though, because I was watching The Outsiders a few weekends ago, and my sister-in-law, I forgot where Tucson was. Don't laugh at me. And I turned and I went, where is Tucson? And she goes, where they live. It's in Oklahoma.
Right.
Oh,
Where is it? It's in Arizona. Where is it?
it's in Arizona.
What? She said Oklahoma.
I'm leaving, Hannah.
All right, listen. I'm on a lot of cold medicine. Everyone has to be kind to me. Go on. Oh, it was Tulsa. Don't tell Iman I said that, Mom.
We did not drink before this, I swear.
We're dead sober.
So am I. I have cold medicine.
Yeah, that's a good experience.
All right, move on. Quick.
Okay, next question. If your character, any character, could talk back while you're writing, what would they complain about most? And we can start on that end this time.
Oh, start with me. Oh, God. What would they complain about most? I'm pretty sure that Lyra would complain that I gave her no filter. And that was on purpose. First of all, she's probably the closest to me in personality of any character I've ever written. But I went to a workshop shortly before I started that book, and I cannot remember for the life of me who gave the workshop, but she said it was one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard writing, just like one of those little tricks, which is if the character can think it, they can say it out loud. And if they can say it out loud, they can say it to the hero, and then they can fight about it. And I was like, I like that. I like that a lot. And so I made her do that throughout the book. Every time she had a thought, I was like, is this funnier out loud? It is funnier out loud. So she has zero filter. And I'm pretty sure she's like I can picture her looking up at me like, well, I have to say that out loud? Like, he's going to be mad.
So I kill like a lot of people, like a lot, and
You're worse than me with the
yeah,
killing of the people.
and I've heard a bit about
Ruthless.
it at this point. So I think there might be some complaints about who dies a bit from the other characters.
You don't think from the characters who die?
Oh, maybe that too. Yeah.
They can't speak, they're dead. Oh God, I feel like they all would hate me. The villain, I feel like, would have a lot to say, but it's mostly because I put him in very stressful situations. He's a gentleman. He cuts heads off, but he's a gentleman. And I think that he tries to remain very composed. And my favorite thing is to make his assistant Evie make him the least composed person in the room. And I think he would have words about that because she's just constantly, poking. And I think they'd blame me for that. And for forcing their heads together in every single book. Please kiss, please. And they're like, no. But they don't listen to me anyway, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I think it's Abby's turn to pick a fun slip. Oh, is it Hannah's turn?
Oh, why would you do
Go
this?
ahead, Hannah.
Okay. Oh, God. What's your writing process guilty pleasure? Oh, my God. I feel like I don't have a guilty pleasure when it comes to my writing process. It's more like I do this really bad thing. Again, don't do what I do because it's very stressful. But I work really well under pressure, and I find I get the best stuff out of myself when I'm under pressure. So I often do the most work on a project 2 weeks before it's due. And it usually involves very little sleeping. Very haphazard eating schedule. It usually involves my fiance like sliding me food like I'm a rabid animal under a blanket. I'm not kidding. I'm under like a blanket like this, and he's like, "Do you want dinner?" And I'm like, "Yes." I think at that point, I truly feel like, and this is gonna sound so like woo-woo, but I truly like check out as myself. Like I am not there anymore. I am truly just a vessel for the story at that point. And that is my favorite part of the writing process, is just completely losing myself in a book. Because it feels a lot like when I became a reader. Like when I became a reader, I completely like wasn't myself anymore. I was in a story with different characters, and I was a part of the story. And I find that I am closest to that feeling when I'm creating a story, when I am in that like part of the process. So it's less of a guilty pleasure, more just like my favorite part of writing, and listening to folklore, like to a degree that is probably not healthy, but it's folklore season. Taylor Swift? Okay, I was like, that was too quiet for folklore. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Tips for aspiring authors. And this might be our last normal question. We'll do one more fun question for each of you. But let's start with Abby. Tips
I
for
have
aspiring.
so many tips for aspiring authors, and the biggest being trust yourself, trust your gut, write the process that you're going to write the story that you want to write. Don't let anybody anywhere in the whole process tell you that there's this is the exact way that you should do it. This is the only way. That's not true. There's a different way for every single person out there that's going to work for you and your style and the stories that you want to tell. So hold on to that, because it's very easy to be. There's a lot of voices out there telling you all the different ways to do it.
Let's see. So if you are in the process of writing and you're trying to query or you're trying to go into indie, I would say that it only takes one yes. And like it sounds so trite, but it really does. Like I remember when I was querying, which is like, it's such a wonderful thing to do for your mental health. Like it just, this like weird like silence or like these like kind of generic no's. And I was going to quit. I really was. I was like, you know what, maybe this is just not like, I'll query one last book, or like I'll send one last batch. And like that was the one that wound up landing me my first agent. And then, we went on sub and it wasn't terribly successful. And it's like, oh, well, let's do it one more time before like we hang this up. So like it really just takes one more time. It really just takes one more yes. So that's mine.
Oh, they stole all the good ones. No, I think that my advice is always to write what makes you like the most passionate, to get up and like go down to your computer and or wherever medium you're writing on. Because I was working on something completely different when I started writing Assistant to the Villain, and it was something I always thought I should be writing. I veer towards funny. I want to write things that are funny, or at least I try. Sometimes I fail. Oftentimes I fail. But I want to write things that make people laugh, and I want to write things that can be lighthearted and heavy at the same time. And I think that it's so easy to get caught up in what's trending or what you think people will want to read, instead of just like being true to what your artistic creativity is telling you to do. Because when I sat down to write Assistant to the Villain, I kept thinking like, this is the story I've always wanted to write. Like this is exactly what I'm meant to be writing right now. And I was always so eager to get back to the computer and write. So I think that when you're writing something, make sure it's something you feel like that kind of passion for, like that kind of excitement. It doesn't matter what it is, just whatever gets you up out of bed in the morning going, this is what my drive is today. To get out of bed and do this. I think that's the most creative, fulfilling feeling.
Great, that's a great place to end. That was lovely. And I'm now going to hand off the mic, and we can start our audience Q&A portion.
Thank you so much. Can we first have a round of applause for May, Hannah, and Abigail? If you do have a question, raise your hand nice and high. I will come around with the mic. We have one mic to do this with, people, so you're going to have to bear with me. We're going to start right here for that exact very reason. Jesus, are you okay?
Hi. I'm here just to bother Abby. One, why did you do that to Boone? I'm still going to keep asking every time I see you. No, you don't have to actually answer that question. Two, do you take Cerberus with you when you travel?
Oh, so first of all, with Boone, I don't want to give it away too much for readers,
You looked
but
at me, I was like, you don't really have Dr.
no. But just, I've got a funny story about that. So, kind of like May, I like to kill off my characters. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. I don't know what that says about me mentally, but it is one of my very favorite things to do. And it happens one of two ways. Either at the very beginning when I'm plotting, I know exactly what characters are going to die. And then there's the group of characters where I'll be writing along and I'll be like, you know what? I've got way too many characters. It's time for somebody to die. That's how I solve my too many characters problem. And then I go, which one would hurt the most? And that's who gets it. Yeah. Sorry, guys. The other question was Cerberus. So I have Cerberus in about 5 or 6 different forms at this point. And so no, I don't bring Cerberus with me, but I think I should because Hannah brings Kingsley with her.
I know, but I don't. My mother has him. Did you leave him at home? Oh. Oh my God. It's so hot. Oh my God. Call the police.
Yeah. And so I think I need to start bringing Cerberus with me. Yeah, so I've got a little statuette one, and then I've got like a plushie one that I found in New Orleans, and then I've got the sock puppet one from the sock puppet video that the guys sent me, the sock puppet. I love my sock puppet, Cerberus.
We have a question over here to your left, towards the back. Yep.
I'm a huge audiobook listener, and I've listened to the audiobook versions of all of your books. What is your experience like finding someone to voice your books, if any, and what's that process like?
Everyone looked at me. Hi. It was like, not like a process per se, but I'll say that Tantor Audio, do you guys work with Tantor as well? I think they're amazing, and they were very, very great about letting me impart some opinions on who I would want to read the book. And Emma Eldridge does the audiobook narration for Assistant to the Villain series, and I think she does an amazing job. I don't know, it was more just like a feeling. I'm so artsy where I like that, and I'm like, it's a vibe. But no, I just listened to a bunch of voices, and I picked the ones that I felt fit best with the overall narrator of the story, which is Evie. And I think I picked well. I love Emma Eldridge. I think she does an amazing job. Less of a process and more of just I'm vibing with their reading. I think audiobook narration is insane. I don't know how people read. They have to read at a certain pace. I can't do that. I talk 1,000 miles a minute. I'm speeding it up in my audiobook thing, and I'm but I know you're speaking slow, and it's so impressive.
So they gave me a few options, and then it's funny. I'm not a big audiobook person, probably because I have a hearing loss on the side. So when I'm writing, I'm not hearing them, and so I'm oh, it doesn't really matter. But then it matters. You're no, this doesn't sound like Sora. And Sora was impossible to get a narrator for because she's the only one where I really described her voice, and I described it as sort of wind chimes or oh my gosh, I will never do that again. Don't ever describe somebody's voice like that specifically because it's very hard to get somebody to match that. But I think they did a phenomenal job. They really did.
I have fun. I have a lot of fun doing the narrator picking. So the way that they really work it is, they send you 3 options for each. And if you have multiple actors in your audiobook, they send you 3 options for each, and then you can and if you don't like all 3, you can be I don't like all 3, and then they'll send you another 3. And part of it has to do with who's available at the moment, also when they're going in to record. And so it's fun to listen to each one, and then go kind of back and forth with them on okay, but she's 23. Can you sound 23? Not 30? So there's that piece to it, which is really fun for me. And then there's always, to me, so one of my favorite parts, this is going to be weird, one of my favorite parts of the process is that this has nothing to do with the audiobook narrators, but they send you a list of all the words that they don't know how to pronounce.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Mostly it's names, which makes sense. They're I don't know. And half the time I'm I don't know how to pronounce that name. I've only been writing it and hearing it in my head. So I have this lovely man at Recorded Books. His name is Paul. And Paul
he's so nice.
Paul's so nice. He's so nice. And this is how I picture Paul. I picture Paul in like a dark little hole of an office with like all these ancient tomes that tell you how to pronounce things that are like Latin and Greek and things like that. And so I'll be like, Paul, I don't know how to pronounce just recently we were doing the book 2, The Titans, and one of the Titans it's M-N-E-S Mensemone. 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 But you don't say the M. Now it's Mensemone. So I don't know. I can't
don't look at
say
me.
it. And I was like, Paul, how do you say this?
We had a Tucson Tulsa thing over here.
Yeah.
She's like,
We're ignoring that. If that comes out on the internet, I'm going to find you.
So I have fun with Paul. Paul and I, every time I get to talk to Paul, because Paul and I have now done this for like 30 books, and so every time he's like, Abigail, how lovely to meet you. He speaks very formally, and I'm like, Paul.
All right, our next question is also going to be right over here, to your left. Yep.
This is for Hannah. I saw Legendary Television reported they picked up assistant to the villain for a TV show. Can you confirm if that's correct?
That is correct.
And is there any timelines for release?
I can't tell you anything. But I love you for, I feel like you're like that Alexis Rose audio where she's like, you're not getting tickets to that show, but I love your enthusiasm. No, I truly, like, I learn things like just as slowly as you guys do. It's a slow process, but the team, I can say the team working on it is absolutely amazing. It's in very good hands. I'm so excited about it. I get to executive produce, which is amazing. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm very excited. Yeah, so as soon as I have things that I can tell you guys, I will tell you. I promise. I hate keeping secrets. I'm very Tom Holland. I want to tell you everything. And I almost always do by accident.
Thank you. Hi. First, I just want to say all three of you look amazing tonight. I just wanted to let you know that. Yeah. My question then is, what is your favorite part of each of your books? Is it a character? Is it a plot point? Is there a scene that just makes you kick your feet and giggle? Is there a line? What is like the one specific individual part? If you can get just one, what would it be?
You want me to go? I've got one already.
Go ahead.
So for me, it was the moment I figured out exactly who Hades was as a character, beyond being the morally gray, god of death. And it's the line where she's just experienced one of the other champions has died, and she's like, all you guys don't give a rip about humans, basically. And he goes, well, to all the other gods, you are like butterflies. You are something that is beautiful, but gone too fast for us to get attached to. And she says, well, you said the other gods. And he said, well, yes, because all the souls come to me eventually in the underworld. And so she realizes that to Hades, we're not butterflies, we're eternity. And to me, that so solidified who he was, that he was actually, he took that responsibility very seriously and carefully, and that he cherished the souls and didn't just he's not quite as whimsical, I think, as the other gods.
Wait, what was the question? I got lost.
Your favorite part?
Oh, you said so many good things. I think banter is my favorite part of anything within a story. It's the most joy I have when I'm writing is when two characters are bantering back and forth. I love when my cast of characters are all together bantering. It's so much fun, and it's so chaotic, and it reminds me a lot of like my family and my family gatherings because that's often how they speak. But one of my favorite small elements of the book is coming in book 3. And it's literally one sentence that I've been building up to since I started writing the series. So it was like, when I wrote it out, I literally screamed and threw my laptop. I was like, oh my God, I did it. So I think that it's like that gratifying feeling of like when you plant a seed like years ago, and finally getting it onto the page is like a really crazy, wild feeling. And now you guys are holding it. And you can like look at it right now, which is wild. So yeah, I think it's coming in book 3 is probably my favorite part.
My favorite part. Oh my gosh, I loved writing the whole series. Maybe not my favorite, but so the background to this is that I am extremely afraid of birds, and all birds. It's not like just the large, scary ones. Yeah, pigeons too. Like definitely pigeons. but like they're not afraid of anybody.
And they were domesticated, and then they freed them, and none of them know how to make a nest.
I'm sorry, but that's got to go in a book.
I know. Listen, I'm very passionate about pigeons.
Now I feel like.
Sorry, go on. I interrupted you.
But now I'm picturing a pigeon shifter. You can't make a nest.
I know, it's crazy. Sorry, go on.
No, it's okay.
Talk about your birds. You're scared of birds. Go on.
No, so it's all birds, including pigeons, with or without their nests. It doesn't matter. Yeah, and so instead of like going to therapy and doing the proper thing, I'm like, what if I just make everybody else terrified? Like, what if there's a 60-foot tall
I know exactly what scene you're talking
man-eating bird that they have to run from? What if there's like these mind-reading Amarth, like they're 7 feet tall, and it's actually based off of the harpy eagles. Those really creepy, strange. Yeah. Okay, like we can all admit that those are a little creepy, right? Like just like as a concept. You.
What are you looking at me for?
Because you love pigeons. Like, are you okay?
Pigeons, they're not comparable to what you just said. They're just like pecking around, like moving their heads like this, trying to eat French fries on the street.
They are, but like they don't like think about something that's that much larger than you, and you're just like, fuck
What
it.
if you could ride it?
But now I'm picturing the harpy eagle shifter with the pigeon shifter, enemies to lovers. I'm just
I love pigeons.
I think we're done.
We're off the rails. Sorry.
Wait, where did Kai go?
Question?
Should we move on? No. Okay, yeah, we good?
Yeah, maybe.
I have 2 questions. One specifically for Hannah. Are you aware that there's a fan-like song written about Assistant to the Villain? It's on YouTube?
Yes. I've been tagged a bunch in a bunch of different songs. I love any art form that comes from something I've made. It's absolutely insane. Like whenever I get tagged in fan art, I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. yeah. It's absolutely amazing. I feel like I feel it really inspired when I read or watch anything. So to have other people that are artists feel inspired by something I've made is always really, really cool. And I know what song you're talking about. It's very catchy.
And in general, which character do you most relate to? A lot of people would make it their main character, but I know some people like making it the side characters as well.
I think I always say I relate a lot to Evie, of course, because originally the series started as if I was the morally gray fantasy villain's personal assistant, and then Evie just kind of became her own like conglomerate of a person that is not anything close to me. But I always say Evie and the villain are 2 sides of the same coin, and I'm the coin. So some days I'm the villain and some days I'm Evie. Some days I'm both. I think we all have a little of both inside of us. I feel like I put a piece of myself into all my characters. I don't know if you guys feel like that as well with your characters.
So I gave Sora my exact hearing loss. So a few years ago, I lost almost all hearing on my left side. And there's really not very much disability rep, especially not in epic fantasy. So I definitely wanted to have a character like her. I wanted to have Asian main characters because I never saw that growing up, pretty much ever. There's an adoptee because for the same reason. So like there was a lot of me and my history that went into this. But my favorite to write was definitely Ari. Like, I just love that she's got this, like, fun, very light, bubbly voice in what is otherwise a heavy, bloody fantasy.
Yeah, I love her. So Lyra's probably the closest to me, which means I relate to her the most. And if anything, that lack of filter. So I have a lack of filter, or mine isn't quite as... mine is meaner. I've got a mean sense of humor that I have to, like, tailor out of my books just because I'm like, oh, that was too mean. People are going to hate me. And so I take it out. But I also wrote quite a bit into Aphrodite. And particularly the way she feels about being the goddess of love, where she's like, it's just kind of this, I'm just the goddess of love. And I think almost subconsciously, as a romance author now for 13 years, romance tends to be the genre that gets dismissed or even made fun of frequently. And that drives me a little bit nuts, especially given that romance is 50% of the book market. That's how big of a book market this is. And so I think my chip on my shoulder from that kind of went into her chip on her shoulder as the goddess of love.
Just make sure you don't hold the mic in front of the speaker.
Hi.
Hello.
I want to first off say thank you, Hannah, for being all of us, because you are just completely yourself. And as we were hearing skydiving, and we were just like, what? And you were just like, what? And you got the tea for us, and we got to hear the story. So thank you, because I think I've been following you since the beginning of TikTok. So I was like,
You deserve a medal.
I was like, oh my God, she made the book. I get to read it. So you have consistently been you, so thank you for that. My question is it really hard to continue coming up with A words? Because each time I try to figure out your next A word, it's like I forget every A word in the English dictionary.
It's you know what, I don't want to say no because it sounds obnoxious, but no. But I never want to actually reveal the titles because the guesses are so much funnier than what it actually is. I got acetaminophen to the villain the other day. And I was like, that's hilarious. I get affianced to the villain a lot. That one's like a manifesting one. Like, you guys are really like, I love that. But no, it hasn't, the A's have come, like, it was kind of an accident, the A trend, but it ended up just like being what we stuck with, and it worked because it's just how she's getting promoted, you know? She's good at her job. And yeah, keep the guesses coming because they keep me really entertained. I've gotten some wild ones, and I hope to continue. So send them in my DMs. I'll be reading them later.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all of you. I don't know where this. Oh, thank you.
Hi. 2 questions. Hannah, when can we have Kingsley?
What do you mean?
I want a Kingsley plushie, stuffy, anything.
Yeah,
Kingsley. Barnes & Noble?
Not just Kingdom of Threads. Also, the Kingdom of Threads is the brand that makes the Kingsley plushies. You can get them on. You can get him on their website as well. They are amazing. I think so many different books they work with, and they make amazing merchandise for all the books. They put like a lot of love and care into it. For Kingsley specifically, they sent me a picture of a bunch of different frog models. And they were like, pick. And I was like, oh my God. This is so exciting. It was the cutest competition ever. But they did an amazing job. I travel with mine everywhere. He's in the car right now suffocating, but it's okay. Yeah, but you can get him on Kingdom of Threads websites, and lots of independent bookstores sell him as well.
Thank you so much. And then my second question is for May. I'm a person who's very grateful for the trigger warnings at the beginning of the books. And I was just curious, when you're writing items that are triggering, how do you process that? Is that, I'm having difficulty like figuring out how to ask that question, but like it's heavy content. So how does that affect you? Like, do you have a routine that you do?
So it probably doesn't affect me as much as it should. Because it's kind of, for me, like when I'm writing, I'm the storyteller. Like, so I'm part of it, and they are kind of, it's almost like, yeah, they're like voices in your head. Oh God, this does not sound right.
Do you want me to tell the story again about that?
No.
You've answered it all.
It's not for entertainment. Like, and I think that's a big part of it. Like, the things that are triggering, the things that we have warnings for are there because they are necessary to who they are as characters. They are necessary for this world. It's not like, I don't like at all, I will never write something that's like, oh, sexual assault as a background for a character to make them more interesting. It is part of who they are as people, and it's, I think, part of the wonderful thing about romantasy and things coming from the female gaze for the majority for the first time, I would say. So we put the warnings out there just so that people are prepared and not thinking that, you know, it's 3 double dates and that everything's going to be okay. But yeah, I think approaching things in the new adult space is definitely different than how I would do it in YA or middle grade, where I think that somebody has maybe never encountered genocide for the first time, or it has never encountered something, ideation or whatever. So I do like that from that perspective of the new adult of being like, you have heard of this before, but now we're going to broach into it a little bit more.
Also, the stat I have is that they did a study just recently where they studied the brain and how it lights up when you read, and your brain lights up the same way for fictional characters as it does for real people. Same spots in the brain. So your brain can't tell the difference between fictional characters and real people, which means that's why we connect so much with them and really fall in love with the characters.
Well, the more you know. All right. That is unfortunately all the time we have for questions. Can we have a round of applause once again?